IS-7 has always been a timeless vehicle. It was actually one of the first few vehicles to be added into World of Tanks Blitz at tier 10 back 8 years ago when IS-3s had to fight this tank. You know, that was an interesting 8 years ago. But a lot has changed since those 8 years. And that's why the IS-7 doesn't hold true only for its sentimental value, but its ability to perform incredibly effectively and with great flexibility on all sides of a battlefield. Now, you can see right here the capabilities of this tank that any other heavy, you could say, which boasts this kind of armor profile can't. The 60TP, the Crown Wagon without the speed boost, the E100, they will not be able to pressure into these medium areas before these mediums even pressure to these medium areas. You can see, because I have the armor, because I have the stronger turret, the stronger hull, I am able to pressure into this hold down position. It's a very aggressive hold down position before the enemies even got near them, which allows me to get several shots off the bat. And that is what I love about these very flexible tanks. You can kind of play on any battlefield, any flank, and against all three metas at the same time. Especially since the E5, the IS-4 got nerfed, the meta has been slowly shifting over to that medium side, and the heavies, however, have not really taken a dip. You know, the 60TP, you know, heavy tanks overall. People love heavies. E100, that's a beginner tank. A lot of players play it. So that's why mediums, heavies, and overall hold down metas pose the most probability that you're going to get sorted into one of those three categories. And that is why I love the IS-3 so much. You can counteract all three of those metas in some way, kind of participate as a tank which belongs to all three categories because you have that turret armor, you have that whole armor to really kind of compete with those heavies. You have that mobility to get into advanced positions before some mediums even get there, and in some rare instances kind of brawl with meds. One thing you want to be careful of though, you know, that is a mistake I sometimes make in tanks like the IS-7, tanks, PVMs and stuff like that, is I underestimate the traverse of mediums. You do not want to do that. Mediums can still outflank you, and that is why you need team support. And that is probably why this decision, this push by me, this very aggressive push on T57 is probably a bad idea. You know, I thought I could face like this guy and maybe get like he can get like 2 shots into me, but instead he put 6 shots into me, and that would have cost me the game if I wasn't playing any other tank but the IS-7. That is why hit points you should not hit point trade, guys. Learn from me, guys. Do not hit point trade a T57 like that. Awful decision by me, but luckily you can see the arm of the IS-7 coming to clutch right now, face hugging this enemy IS-7, and we do manage to get a bounce. You should bait your sides against mediums. You should bait your sides against certain tanks with low penetration, but you should not bait your sides in an IS-7 towards tanks with high alpha, tanks which if you get panned, you're pretty much going to lose. So baiting sides, even though it's a great idea, you do want to keep it to a slight wriggle between left and right, and not a consistent, not an angle like you would a German heavy, because, you know, you'll have a pike nose. You still have a pike nose. Your pike is pretty strong. Up front, with heat ammo, only a certain few tanks can penetrate you with standard. With heat ammo though, premium ammo, they will pretty easily butter through you. So yeah, wriggling, pretty much the best way to put wriggling a hold down, wriggle kind of side bait if you have to. Side scraping, reverse side scraping. You know, reverse side scraping isn't really effective now that I think about it. But yeah, you can try and use that side armor and that turret armor to the best of your advantage, and that's what you really want to try and do when you're pushing to these aggressive positions frontline. You know, in Winter Mananovka, you can push to push to mid if you have medium support. You can push towards like the right if you want to side scrape. This tank has so much flexibility, and almost all positions allow you to exploit at least one part of your armor. That is your turret armor, your hull armor, your side armor. So really, there should be no position that this tank can't take advantage of in some manner. So in our second replay, we're going to be showcasing the ability of the IS-7 to take a hold down kind of urban-esque scenario. What we're going to do is we're going to pressure our tank incredibly frontline, right over here and later a bit more forward. This is This is why reading the lineup is so important. You can get those initial shots off incredibly effectively if you can kind of guess where the enemy team is going to move. They have one E100. That thing is slow. They have one 60 TP. That thing is also slow. They have one Yo. It's not the fastest. So there's a likelihood that the enemy team will be stuck somewhere here. So I am probably going to push this part. Now, I do kind of make a mistake. I think that our team is going to support me from behind, and they do support really, really well. But later they do progress over to the med side, and that is going to cause a problem because at 60 TP, the 60 TP on the enemy team may be able to get side shots into me and kind of ruin my ability to hold this position as a hold down kind of invincible tank right now. Right now, I'm basically invincible. There's nothing those two tanks can do except for splat HE, and I'll easily outtrade them if they do that. Now, I'm just going to hold here. There's no need pushing. There's no need pushing or backing down as of yet. You know, E100, please run enhanced armor or don't hold down, please. So here's a tip, bro. Like, come on. E100s are so vulnerable out in the open. I believe they are in order of some sort of turret modification, not maybe a buff, I'm not sure, but yeah, you can see we're holding this position rather well. And the advantages, you saw that E100 just got completely farmed out by me. The E100 is a very situational tank. It requires on urban scenarios, cover for side scraping, cover for trading, that on this map isn't exactly the strongest of positions. However, the IS-7 can cover all of those aspects really, really well. So even though the IS-7 may not be as good as the E100 in a tradey kind of situation, in a urban environment, it can perform rather well, as this game shows. 4k damage isn't exactly the greatest, but it isn't exactly the worst either. Now, we are playing the role of a medium over here, and you can see the formula is always in these kind of super heavy tanks. Not quite as super heavy this tank is, but it still features that incredible armor, the ability to lead a push, and the ability to hold a position really well that a conventional super heavy presents, only without the hindrance of low mobility. That is incredible. I honestly can't believe how well suited to these three different metas this tank is, and other tanks as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of like help clear the 60 TP, and then we're probably not going to get that much damage, so I am just going to skip over to the next game after here. I'm going to pressure on, but yeah, one AFK FV that will go down incredibly quickly, and you have to keep that in mind. As a heavy tank, you don't have as much DPM as those mediums. Those mediums can shred you really quickly if you're not careful enough. That's why you need team support. Don't overextend or push by yourself, which is a bad idea. Now on this third game, this showcases my mistakes, which really, really captivates how you should play this tank. Now, I did not read the lineup properly. I thought that they might have sent tanks down over there. I didn't even read that lineup properly. I didn't even read the lineup, pretty sure that much. I'm pretty tired, you know, I just went, why not play one round in the IS-7? And yeah, a bunch of colossal mistakes. Saved only by the mobility of the IS-7, which again shows how effective this tank is in getting to a position. And yeah, I got spotted and I did take 500. So I know 640 Alpha TD is over there. He just fired. So if I should have pushed over. I should have went over there and helped out the mediums in taking out that 150 E50M. And don't make this mistake. You need to read the lineup in an IS-7 if you want to get the most of your IS-7 gameplay. You want to try and take those positions where you know the enemy will poke to get to certain positions near A cap, to get to near certain positions in B cap, to get to positions in C cap. There are a bunch of paths which the enemy must cross, such as pushing down below, pushing up that crossing area to my right right now. Those are positions the enemy must push, and if you can get to a position which looks over that area and the enemy does go as expected, everything goes as expected. Not always. There could be rare exceptions where a predominantly heavy team goes medium. That's weird, but like, hey, that happens, and that's when maybe you might not get as much damage. But if you can take those advanced positions and use your mobility to try and get over there and hold those positions, you will prevent the enemy from making a you will prevent the enemy from making a push in general. You will kind of be in the way for the enemy and they will need to clear you first. And with that amazing side armor as demonstrated there, it's going to be a rather tough task for the enemy to do. Now you can see right here, I am being pressured by 2 people at once, but because of my mobility, I can kind of side scope against both of these players at once. I'm not going to push yet. Even if this tank has a buffed ammo rack, I'm not going to risk the ammo rack just yet. I need to wait until this 50B has his clip reloaded, and I will pressure these 2 guys together. And you can see right now, I took the shot. I backed the back, tried to bait the shot, and guess what? It worked. And now you can see the 50B is going to pressure this Yag Tiger, the Yag Panther alongside me. I'm gonna take the shot because I don't want this. I don't want my team to kind of be reluctant to push in case they get tapped. So that's kind of what you can do late game. Because early game, if you hold your position well, you get to that position. Even if you get a bit late and those meds do get a couple shots into you, you're gonna be saving your hit points for the push that will come. Even if your team pushes incredibly well, then you can use your hit points in taking shots for them, just like I did for taking the Jaeger shot. Brawling is this tank's middle name, and if you can get this tank in such an offensive manner, then you will perform extraordinarily well. Thanks for watching. This is Epic 5105. Stay safe, and I hope you guys have a nice day.